Wednesday's weather for Weather Geeks. Speaking of geeks, look who's here.
The geekiest of all.
That's right. Special guest appearance today by Mike Case. We're taking advantage of me working in the morning today to bring you a special guest star. You know, Mike Joyce and I used to tag team these.
Is that right?
But you know, this is going to be a little different dynamic, I think.
Well, you guys had a magical chemistry.
We did.
I've decided to bring my drink from McDonald's, hoping that someday somebody sponsors this. Like a product placement.
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? We just made a trip to McDonald's, and you're a very popular guy.
Delicious.
You're a very popular guy down there at that McDonald's on 224. All right, let's talk weather.
Okay.
Yeah. I mentioned to Mike before we hit record that it's actually been warmer than average so far this month. This is a look at the country, and anywhere where you see the oranges and reds, Mike, that means warmer than average. The blues, the purples, colder than average. And this is a big change compared to the winter when we had January, February, March, all way below average.
Could you see that coming? Could you tell that it was going to be one of those winters like, oh boy, here we go?
That was our forecast. You know, we put out a winter forecast in late October, said it was going to be colder than average, but not as cold as last winter. And that ended up being right until the last part of February, which was so remarkably cold that it tilted the whole winter in favor of it being actually a little colder than last winter.
It was the coolest weather we've ever had in February, right?
Right. Coldest February on record here in Youngstown. So yeah, our forecast was on the money, except we didn't predict how, unbelievably cold February would be, but no one did really. So this has been a big change so far in April. It's been a lot better, and our 7-day forecast features more warmer than average temperatures. The map will still look like this a week from right now. Here's what's going on today. We just made our little coffee run, and yeah, it's kind of cloudy and murky and outside. But there's not much going on otherwise. Radar's quiet.
For us.
Yeah, for us. Showers east, showers west, and look at these thunderstorms out here in Indiana, Mike. Indianapolis, just in time for rush hour out there. That's no fun. These are severe thunderstorm warnings out in central Indiana.
And the darker the color, the worse it is.
Yeah, exactly. When you get into the reds and purples, that means that these storms are getting very, very high in the sky. We've got the lightning bolts plotted up here. I'll take off the radar. You see these little lightning bolts here? And a lot of lightning. And the yellow boxes, those are severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, overall today, the threat for severe weather is mostly out here across the lower Ohio Valley. Let me take off some of this stuff. It's a little too busy.
The Indiana's not in Tornado Alley, is it? Or is it part of it?
Not technically, but they do get more tornadoes in Indiana than they do in Ohio. It's flatter out there. They are closer to, the prime zone for severe weather out in the plains. So Indiana averages more tornadoes than Ohio and Pennsylvania does, certainly. So the enhanced risk of severe weather today is out here. St. Louis, Wichita, Kansas City, and even as far east as central Ohio, there could be some pretty nasty storms today. You notice, Mike, just in the dark green zone here in the Youngstown area, and that means we're just in a real small risk for severe weather. I think there could be a thunderstorm today, but we're not probably dealing with hail and damage.
Is that what they mean by severe weather? Because if it does thunderstorm, does that count?
It doesn't. There are technical definitions. A severe thunderstorm has to have winds of 58 miles per hour, 58, not 60, or greater, or hail 1 inch in diameter or greater, or produce a tornado. Any of those three things make it a severe thunderstorm.
Okay, and we are in the green section, which means ballpark percentage-wise...
Pretty low. Chance of...
Less than 10?
Yeah, exactly. If you put a percentage on it today, the chance for severe weather, 5-10% at most today. Okay. So that's the story today. Now, tomorrow is a little different. We can talk about that real quick. Here's tomorrow's outlook, and you notice we're in the yellow tomorrow. And you can actually look at the percentages here, and we're up in the 15% zone tomorrow. And, that's not a real big number, but in the grand scheme of things, we don't have that many of these type of days a year. We might have a dozen days a year where we're in this 15% zone. So there's not many days that the percentage gets that high. So tomorrow the ingredients are just a little bit higher, or better, I should say, for a higher chance of hail damaging winds in the afternoon. It's going to be worst out here in Illinois and parts of Indiana, Missouri. So St. Louis to Chicago, that's kind of the sweet spot tomorrow. There's probably going to be a few tornadoes out there, some hail and some wind as well.
Is there a line that comes across, or do they... I don't really get the popping up of the showers and how it gets really bad really quick. Not that we have to delve into it right now.
No, thunderstorms can take on many different shapes and sizes, and sometimes you get what we call a squall line, in which it's just like a line of storms that all kind of look the same, and then sometimes you get those individual ones, and sometimes those individual ones can actually get stronger than a line, because a line of big storms can kind of hog all the ingredients, all the moisture, all the good stuff, and then when you get these individual little storms, there's not as much sharing going on. So those storms can kind of hog the moisture, hog the instability.
I see.
And so a lot of storms that produce tornadoes are actually the little individual storms, not the line of storms. So you see tornadoes out of those types of storms, a little more often. So back here at home, let's talk about what's going to happen for the rest of the day today, and bring up this is what we call the simulated radar. It's what the model thinks the radar is going to look like.
Okay.
And
at a certain time period?
Yeah, a certain time. So this will be at 2 p.m. today. And if this short-range model is right, turning kind of wet here at 2 o'clock. First of all, let's see if it's doing okay right now. Let's see what the model thinks the radar looks like now at about this time. And it thinks there are a couple of showers out in central Ohio. And
which is not the case.
Reality, let's look at the radar. Not really.
Okay.
So, this model tends to overdo it a little bit. But it doesn't do bad a lot of times. It's like any other computer model. It's going to have its good days and its bad. So anyway, let's skip ahead a few hours to like midday. Here's noon. Shower around. Certainly looks worse off to our west. And then middle of the afternoon today, 3 p.m. That cluster of activity is pushing east. Not much out here across the west mid-afternoon. Then towards dinner time this evening, there's not much.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a softball game, if you got golf league tonight,
we have practice at 6.
6.
Yeah.
If this model were to be believed, and it has generally I think the right idea, there's going to be these real hit or miss showers, maybe a thunderstorm. If you're unlucky, you get under one. If you're lucky, you miss out on
That's the concern, the lightning.
Yeah, exactly.
For the kids, the rain, they can handle that.
Exactly. We didn't have much lightning yesterday with the showers, but I think there's a better chance of seeing some lightning, hearing some thunder with some of this stuff later today. This would be at 7 p.m. Could be, these real hit or miss showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two as well. Mentioned tomorrow brings a better chance of some nastier storms. Let's look at tomorrow's high-res computer model here, and same time frame, late afternoon. You notice it doesn't show much, but that doesn't mean that any of these storms that try to get going won't turn pretty nasty. It's not going to be a huge squall line that's going to cover the whole state or anything like that, but any of these individual little things could turn kind of nasty tomorrow late in the day. Certainly the better risk is with these clusters out here late in the day tomorrow. So Indians home opener is coming up on Friday. 4:05, taking on the Tigers.
Have you seen what they've done to the stadium, by the way?
Yeah, a lot of good stuff, and then some of it I'm not so sure about. Like
taking out all those seats and stuff?
Yeah, I'm not sure I like that.
Interesting to see.
Yeah, exactly.
In person, maybe.
In some of the upper deck out there in right field, they've got these big, they're like honoring past players,
right.
and it takes up a lot of the seating, and they're big white blocks, and it doesn't look that great to me, but what do I know? Anyway, Indians home opener on Friday is looking okay. It's going to rain in the morning. This is first thing in the morning, some showers around, but notice already by 2 p.m. they're gone. So it's going to be chilly if you happen to be heading up to the game. Temperatures are going to be falling. So by mid-afternoon up in Cleveland by the lakefront, it may not be much better than 40, 41, 42. So it's definitely a jacket kind of an afternoon. Too bad we won't be in this air mass over here, where it's going to be in the 70s.
I see that.
So dry, that's the good news. The bad news is pretty chilly for the Indians home opener. And real quick look at the long range. After a nice weekend, although it'll be cool Saturday, this number's probably a little too cool. It's probably in the 50s Saturday.
Okay.
Sunday's better, and then look at this.
I think that's great.
Next week, things are looking good. And, we talked about on the air this morning a little bit in the past couple of days. All this rain we're getting this week, and then the sun's going to come out for a little while, and, we're going to be right on schedule for things to start greening up. Buds on trees, you're going to be mowing the grass before you know it.
Good deal.
So what'd you think of that?
I loved it.
Had a good time?
Absolutely.
We didn't keep it to 6 minutes like
Where'd
I
we
promised.
go?
On
14?
We're over 9 minutes already.
Really?
Doesn't it go fast, though?
Really does.
All right. Thank you for watching the Wednesday weather for Weather Geeks. Back to our regular schedule tomorrow and Friday. We'll have this online in the afternoon. Mike Case, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
See you tomorrow.